What's up, y'all? It's your boy Tevin Jameer back at it again with another episode of the Hater or Love It podcast. And man, y'all already seen what's going on in the title. Today, I will be ranking 2025 films. And yeah, like I said in my last end of the year episode, which came out last week, the music ranking, or the Apple Music replay. I know I promised y'all these end of the year episodes back in December, but hey, how I see it, better late than never. And besides, y'all still getting content either way. But I'm gonna try to be consistent this year. That is one of my goals. But that's always my goal every year. But things play out how they play out. But yeah, man. Pretty much y'all know, if you guys are returning viewers, and y'all already know how I do this. I basically, every film that I seen this year, just as long as it had a major release this year. So a film could have been filmed in 2020, could have been filmed in 1998. If it came out with a major release this year, like as far as theaters and streaming, then if it counts, it counts. So yeah, I got 51 movies here today. I watched 51 movies this year, at least ones that was released newly this year. I watched 51 movies, and y'all know how I do it. I rank it from worst to best, and then on screen I have the rating. I read out my my review of the movie, and pretty much that's about it, y'all. If you guys are returning, then y'all already know how I do it. I'm just explaining for all the new people. And right before I get into it, I just want to say I have been ranking films consistently for the past 3 years, since I think 2023. I've been doing this, and I will say 2025, at least in my opinion, has been the best year in the 2020s for film. I've loved a lot of movies this year. I think this list this is my only list from this decade so far that has not gotten a 0 out of 5 stars. Every movie on this list at least has 1 star. So even if it's a 1 out of 5, at least there's something redeeming over other years that's like, but yeah, this year has been really good. I think this year also has the most amount of 5 out of 5s that I've given in a year during these rankings. So I hope you guys really enjoy this stuff, because I enjoy making it. And to be honest, at the end of this decade, I'm kind of debating on whether I want to do like a 2020s decade ranking. And with me watching 50, like at least 50 films a year, because I try to at least do 50, with me watching at least 50 films a year, bro, that's going to be a very long list. That's basically a whole project right there. So if you guys want to see that, I'm gonna need support for that. I'm gonna need y'all to say that y'all want to see, like, by the end of this decade, do you want to see a decade ranking along with a year end ranking for like 2029? Because that's probably when it would happen. In 2029, I would probably do like my end of year, and then I would do a decade ranking. So that's something I just toyed around with. I hope you guys are interested in seeing that. And who knows if I'll even still be doing the podcast by then. I would hope I would love to keep doing the podcast, even if bigger things are going on for me. I would love to keep doing this podcast. But yeah, I'm rambling on a lot. I got 51 movies to go through. Let's get to it. So y'all already know how it goes. And I just want to put out this one disclaimer, because I be telling people this all the time. If it's not in my ranking, I just didn't see it. Like, I remember my one friend hit me up and asked me, why didn't I see Godzilla -1, I think like 2 years ago that came out. And I told him, like, I just didn't see the movie. So if you don't see a movie here, I just didn't see it. One battle after another, didn't see it. Marty Supreme, I wanted to see it, but I didn't see it in time, so not here. But yeah, enough talking. Let's get straight into it. Let's get into number 51. So at 51, we have 40 Acres, which, like I said, 1 out of 5, but I still hate this movie. I still hate it with a passion. So all right, let's get into my review. My one and only positive, Danielle Deadwyler put on an amazing performance, and I will keep her on my radar. But now, where do I begin with my negatives? The film was overall boring to me. When it wasn't boring, the characters are completely insufferable, which I'm calling this now. Congrats to Manny for being the most annoying character of the year. There was no weight to the action or kills, and the acting varied like randomly throughout each actor and whatever. I won't discourage people from seeing it because as of right now, it looks like I'm in the minority. So check it out if you want, but if you dislike it, don't say I didn't warn you. Um, that was my review. I seen this movie. Yeah, this came out in June of last year, and it was or it didn't come out in June of last year, but that's when it got like more release. I think it came out like a couple months before in Canada because this is obviously a Canadian made movie. Not saying that Canadian made movies are bad, but like I can tell this was, done in Canada. Um this movie was just straight up bad to me. And when I say that I was in the minority, pretty much like it was a mystery movie at AMC, so that's why I seen it. This wasn't anything on my radar. AMC was doing a mystery movie, so I wanted to go see it. And yeah, this was it. And pretty much on X and on Letterbox, this movie got good reviews from the last time I checked, but I completely hated this movie. I really did not like it at all. And yeah, I was right ultimately. Manny is the most annoying character ever. Like, I know you did not just risk your whole family's life for a piece of what. Like, it just, this movie was just bad in my opinion. There's barely any redeeming qualities. Literally the only redeeming quality in this movie with the main actress Danielle Deadwyler. I hope to see her in more work, but this movie was horrible. Did not like it at all, and Manny is one of the most annoying characters I've ever seen in a movie or TV show. And y'all know I'm a big fan of Power. Tariq in the original Power, I hated his character to death. But golly, will I pick Tariq over Manny any day. Hated that man. But let's get into number 50. At number 50, we have Shadow Force. I really did have high expectations for this film because of it being mostly a black-led action movie starring Kerry Washington. But my golly, was this movie boring and poorly written. I have plenty of problems with this film, but I'll say the biggest letdown is the poorly executed action scenes. The final battle was literally the only decent one. Not good, decent action scene. If they follow through with a sequel like they were teasing at the end, I can guarantee that they would be wasting their money. Yeah, that was my review, and yeah, I pretty much feel the same way. When I said that this movie was very boring and poorly written, like I was bored out of my mind in this movie. But, and then you know what? Maybe I can take it being boring, but it being poorly written and so predictable. Like there was a twist villain at the end, and I was just like, yeah, literally anybody with half a brain would be able to know who the villain was. I'm not going to spoil it. Well, actually, I will spoil it because I don't want to encourage y'all to watch through this movie. So the main couple, Kerry Washington and her husband, is friends with another spy couple, and it has Method Man and another woman in there. And Method Man is acting like a butthole throughout the whole movie. So to our surprise, he's the surprise villain. Yeah, the guy that was acting like a... I'm trying not to cuss on the podcast, but like the guy that was acting like an a-hole the whole movie, yeah, surprise, he's the villain. He's the secret villain. Who did that surprise? Nobody. Yeah, don't check out Shadow Force. This movie is it's horrible, and it's sad because I want to see more movies like this. Like these type of action movies, you always get like white leads and stuff like that. I want to see more black led like action movies like this, but it's just like I wanted to see it, just not like this. Like this is horrible. So I hope they're not going through with a Shadow Force 2. Matter of fact, I'm on my laptop right now. Let me look up right now. Are they actually gonna go forward with the sequel? Because they teased the sequel. God, I hope they don't. I hope they're not. I hope they're not. I don't even see a sequel. Yeah, I don't even see a sequel area on the Wikipedia, and the movie did not do good critically. So, yeah, thank God this movie. Oh, and oh, was this movie a loss for the studio? Yeah, so it was a loss for the studio, and it didn't do well critically in reviews and stuff. So yeah, like this movie just deserves to just never be acknowledged. Just don't even. This movie just doesn't even exist. I might as well just skip over this and just go straight to 49. But I already talked about it now. So, but yeah, I'll just say don't ever watch Shadow Force. Matter of fact, just like I said, just act like I didn't even bring this up. At number 49, now this one is going to be a little weird. At 49, we have War of the Worlds. And man, let me pull up my review for it. If this thing wants to work with me. I don't know why my phone is not working with me today. Come on. All right. Despite my score being low, I loved this movie. It's one of those so bad that it's good type movies. Realistically, the acting is atrocious, and you can tell that most of the cast did this for a check, especially Ice Cube. Not only that, but the CGI of the aliens literally look like PS2 graphics. But if I do have to give an actual positive, I didn't see any problems with how they executed the computer screen gimmick throughout most of the movie. Overall, this sucks, but in a way that I was able to enjoy it. If you're going to take it seriously and try not to have fun with it, then don't watch. But if you want to have fun with it, then I highly recommend. Yeah, this movie is ranked so low, but I love this movie. Like, I wish Amazon would release this as a physical release so I could buy it. This movie is so horrible to the point where I really love it. And, like, yeah, the acting is really atrocious, especially by Ice Cube. But and it's crazy because we know Ice Cube is a better actor than this. That's why I feel like he did this for a check. But golly, wasn't he the funniest part of the movie? I love this movie. It's so horrible, but I love it. Definitely, like I said at the end of my review, if you're gonna take this seriously and try not to have a good time, then don't even bother. But if you want to watch this and have some fun, by all means, I definitely recommend. At number 48, we have On Swift Horses. Let me first say that I seen this through AMC's Screen Unseen, and this was a movie I haven't heard of until I seen people predicting it, for the mystery movie. Also, I looked at other people's opinions on Twitter, and I was disgusted to see that people left just because the movie was about gay couples. I don't feel like that's a good reason to write a movie off. But in my case, though, the film had solid acting and directing and cinematography. It's just, the movie was just boring to me. I was fighting sleep the whole runtime, and I don't know what I was looking for, but it definitely wasn't a slow burn relationship movie like this. Yeah, on a technical level, this movie is good. The acting is good, cinematography, all of that is good. It just, this movie was just boring to me. It was just really slow. I don't really know what else to say. The movie was just really slow. But like I said in my review, man, I seen a lot of people dislike this movie just because it was about, gay people. And it's I really feel like that's a horrible reason to dislike a movie. Even if you don't swing that way, I don't swing that way. But at the end of the day, just if a movie is actually good, just acknowledge it for being good. And if a movie is actually bad, then I can see you leaving. But just because it's depicting gay couples, it's come on, bro. You guys got to be secure in yourself with that one. So yeah, now I know I didn't like it just like they did, but they need to get themselves together. This movie was just boring. It just put me to sleep. But everything else was fine, the acting and all of that. It's just, I don't know. That's why I'm saying I wouldn't stop anybody from watching it, because maybe you might get more out of it than I did. But like I said, movie just put me to sleep. But I did wake up enough in time for the ending, so I do know how it ends and stuff like that. And I got the gist of the story. It's not really a complicated story, but, like I said, maybe other people get more out of it, but I just didn't get a lot. At number 7, we have Borderline. Pull this review up. Acting and cinematography wise, this movie is solid, but overall, this movie frustrated me multiple times in terms of story. I think my biggest problem is the horror comedy tone this film goes for, because I think the movie would have benefited from only being a horror, to be honest. Especially since the comedy in this movie was not funny at all. Didn't even get a chuckle out of me. The first trailer had me anticipating this, but never did I think it would be this much of a letdown. I don't know if I can recommend this to anybody, because maybe this just wasn't for me, but maybe you guys can pull something out of it that I just can't. And to be honest, I looked up, that was my review that I wrote for the movie. I looked up, I looked up other people's opinions on the movie after I wrote my review, and it seems like nobody else could pull anything out of it either. This movie was just overall a letdown, so Yeah, I don't recommend it. Don't check it out. Like I said, Shadow Force in this, just pretend I didn't even talk about it. At number 46, I have Opus. Now, this is where my 2 stars finally start. Um, if you have seen any other cult movie, then you pretty much seen this one. Strictly a one-time watch. And yeah, that was my review. There was not really much to say about Opus. Just like I was explaining to my friend when this movie first came out, bro, if you've seen Get Out, Midsommar, um, there's another cult movie that I like. I forget what it's called, but like if you've just basically seen any cult movie or you've seen any movie where the main character is on a certain location and they're just out of their element because everybody else is being weird, yeah, you pretty much seen Opus. That's the movie's biggest problem. If I never seen any other cult movie or I never seen Get Out or any movie of that ilk, I probably would love Opus. I probably would love this movie so much. But because this movie was very by the book and by the numbers, and if you've seen other movies and you've seen this, like that's the only reason this movie is like so low for me. Like it was very disappointing. And because this was done by A24, it had Io Debris in it. Like I was expecting so much more. But yeah, this movie was just very disappointing because it was just very by the numbers for a cult movie. So I mean, if you never watched one before, check it out because maybe you'll have more fun with it than me. But for me, nah, this was just a no. 45, we have the reboot, sequel, whatever you want to call it. I Know What You Did Last Summer, and this is my review. This was about to be 3.5 stars, but then I got to the ending, and this run-of-the-mill harmless slasher flick became a messy slasher flick. For context, I never watched the originals, but me being a horror fan, I basically know what happens in the movie. And this movie was already meh, but then they made a very bad decision that I was like, why did they even do this? If I had to say any positives, some of the kills were cool, and Madeline Klein is just a beautiful woman, and that's it. Recommendation, to casuals, but overall to fans of like the I Know What You Did Last Summer movies, yeah, no, I don't recommend. And like I looked up reviews, I looked up the twist video on YouTube, and pretty much everybody everybody hated the twist villain in this movie. It was very predictable too. I knew both the villains, I knew both the killers pretty much early into the film, but like I didn't want to be right about one of them. There's a twist one. Like I mean, there's one that like main one they had to get rid of first, but then there's a twist one after they get rid of the main killer, and it's like, bro, I had a feeling, but I just didn't want to be right. Like man, yeah. If you're just like a casual movie watcher, like then I definitely recommend it. But like if you're into horror or if you're into like I Know What You Did Last Summer films, then yeah, I wouldn't recommend. This was just a very big slap to the face for the fan base, which, like I said, this is the only one that I've seen. I never seen the originals, but me being into horror films, like I know what happens, and even I felt a big slap to the face. So yeah, this just wasn't it for me. 44, we have Until Dawn. I'm a fan of the game, and honestly, I was disappointed that the movie was going to be completely disconnected, but I was still willing to give this a chance. But unfortunately, and I know they were trying to pay homage to different horror genres, but this was so by the numbers that I just couldn't enjoy it that much. I will say the kills were pretty good, but that's my only positive. If you are ever going to watch this movie, just wait for it to go to streaming. Also, Maya Mitchell, you're a better actress than this. You deserve better. And yeah, pretty much that's how I felt. Movie was just okay, just very by the numbers. And then for all the people that was saying like, "Oh, if you just wanted to get the game adapted, it would have just been a typical teen slasher movie." Okay, well maybe that's what the hell I wanted. Maybe that's what I wanted. Maybe I just wanted the same actors from the video game to show up in person and just do the same things and all of that. Maybe that's what I wanted. But I feel like this movie gave a big slap to the face, and spoiler alert, they teased like the original game at the end of this movie. Like they really teased. I don't know if they plan on doing a sequel, and like the sequel will maybe like be more an adaptation of the game, but they teased the game's events at the end of this movie, and I'm like, so we could have just got that, but you guys want to make it a tease. Okay. I mean, whatever. It's a nice little Easter egg for fans of the game like me, but like, I'd rather have watched the game, come to life, but whatever. 43, we have Flight Risk, and this movie gave me a similar experience I had to Atlas from last year. A so bad that it's actually funny type movie, and that you'll have a good time with it if you're around friends or you're willing to roast it. But if you're by yourself, then this is one of the worst movie experience ever. Stay away unless you and your friends want to have a good time and a good laugh. Pretty much this is basically War of the Worlds. This movie is just straight up bad to the point where I enjoyed it. But in my review, I was saying a lot that like if you're with friends and you roast it, then you'll have fun. But I feel like this is still a funny watch, a good movie to roast, even if you're by yourself. So this is actually a movie they did release this movie physically. So this is a movie I do want to add to my collection. Not even because this movie is good. It's so bad that it's funny. So like I would still watch it even by myself. I will say that my opinion has changed on that. But yeah, it is a very like so bad that it's funny type movie. At 42, we have The Monkey, and I wouldn't say this movie is bad, but not gonna lie, I'm very disappointed. There are good aspects to it, hence why I'm giving it a 3 out of 5 stars, but it wasn't as funny as I thought it would be. The kills, while definitely inventive, just didn't hit much for me, and when the movie ended, I kind of felt empty, like something was missing. Overall, I appreciate what this movie was going for, but this movie is okay, and I don't really feel like I'm watching it. I don't feel like I'm going to watch it again. Then I updated my review, and I said the more I sat with it, I decided to take half a star away from it. And this movie was just overall disappointing to me. If you guys watched my ranking last year, or of 2024, I loved the movie Long Legs. I know a lot of people hated it, but I loved that movie so much that it put Osgood Perkins on my watch list. And pretty much once I found out about The Monkey, I was so hyped. I was like, yo, this movie looks like it's going to be better than Long Legs. Just for me to watch it, and I just did not like this movie at all. Like I said, the more that I sat with it, I just started to dislike it more and more. Now, the acting, cinematography, and the kills, I got to give it to them. Yeah, that was great. But the comedy, this movie is like a horror comedy, and it's like it delivered, I guess, on the kills. So I guess if you want to say like it delivered on the horror, then yeah, it wasn't really scary, but like it delivered as far as the kills. But as far as the comedy, this was some low tier comedy. This was not that funny at all. I actually didn't laugh at all during this movie. But yeah, I mean, one of my coworkers said that he enjoyed it. So, I mean, I guess there's people out there that will find enjoyment in this. I'm just not one of those people. Number 41, we have 100 Nights of Hero. And I said, it's a competently made movie. It's just not my type, to be honest. It's a decent one-time watch for me, but I won't go out my way to watch it again. I won't sway people from checking it out, though, because it did have my audience laughing throughout. But like I said, it's not really for me. The movie was just all right. I found like some of the characters very questionable in this movie. Like even our main character Hero, like I kind of questioned her a little bit too. But like I don't know. This movie was like a mystery movie, and it was the last movie I actually put on my ranking list for last year. Yeah, 100 Nights of Hero, like I said, it's very competently made. It got a couple of chuckles out of me. I mean, the rest of the theater was laughing their butts off like it was the funniest thing they've seen all year. But for me, it was just, I had a couple of chuckles. It wasn't a bad movie, but it's something I'm not going to go back to watch really like that. But, I would say other people should check it out. At number 40, we have Happy Gilmore 2. The best way to describe this? Meh. I didn't hate it because it did provide some good laughs, but ultimately I thought it was okay. I probably won't watch it again, but at least it was a decent one-time watch. Yeah, I mean, this is going to sound crazy to people, but, the first Happy Gilmore, it is a Adam Sandler classic, and I did think the first Happy Gilmore was pretty decent, but, like, it was never like top 10, not even top 5 Adam Sandler like movies for me. Like it, it is a classic movie of his. I will acknowledge that, but like I don't love Happy Gilmore as much as everybody else. Like I feel like Adam Sandler got a lot more funnier movies in my opinion. But Happy Gilmore 2 just kind of, in my opinion, it was of the same quality as the first movie. Like I know some people have issues with the second compared to the first, but like I mean, for someone that wasn't the biggest Happy Gilmore fan, like this movie just kind of did the same thing for me. Like it was cool. I can go without watching it, but like, it was cool. Like I said I won't go out my way to watch it again, but like it's a movie that if somebody had it on around me, like, I'm not going to turn my head or get mad about it being on. Like it was just okay. Like that's all I can really say. 39, we have Dead of Winter. Just saw this through Regal's Mystery Movie Monday, and this was a good one-time watch. Not much to say, but I had a decent time with it. Yeah, Dead of Winter, like I said in my review, decent one-time watch. Not really. It was a cool little mystery movie night, but like I said, I'm not going out my way to watch it again, but it's decent. I would tell people to check it out if they really wanted to watch it. All right, at 38 we have Jurassic World Rebirth, and let me start out by saying I'm not a fan of the Jurassic movies. Not that I don't like them, they just don't pique my interest. With that being said, I did find this decent. This isn't gonna make me become like a fan of the franchise or anything, but I had a good time with it for what it was. Pretty much, I won't go out my way to watch this again, but I wouldn't be mad if someone, put it on. And I can see fans enjoying this movie. People in my theater seem to like it, so I do recommend it. Um, Funny enough, after I wrote this review, like a couple months later, me and my girlfriend went to like a party and whatever, and this was on the TV, and like I sat down and I watched a little bit of it. Like it's not a bad movie. I mean, fans of the franchise tells me like this is one of the worst in the franchise. Look, like I said, I don't keep up with the franchise, so for someone that don't really keep up with it, hey, I had a decent time. Like I said, I'm not gonna go out my way, but if it's on TV, my eyes will take a little look. 37, we have the remake of How to Train Your Dragon. When people say shot for shot remake, this is exactly what they mean. I liked the original growing up, so I had no doubt about liking this one, but both versions are so similar that this will probably stay a one-time watch for me. It's not bad, but the performances wasn't as good as the original, and it was way too similar. So, I mean, if you've never seen the original, then you're definitely going to enjoy this, but for anyone that has seen it, honestly, you can skip it. And it's actually interesting because when I went to go see this, me and my friends, this was during our Baltimore trip. We like to go to like different movie theaters and different places, get different experiences. And one of my friends, uh, actually, I think my friend Joe didn't see the original, and me and my cousin Sinir, we did see the original. So like I was able to get opinions from both sides, where everybody liked it. Like I liked it, but for me it was like it's too similar to where I'm just not gonna watch it again. My cousin pretty much said the same thing. Like he liked it, but it was just so similar. Like there's no point. And for my friend Joe, he was actually interested in seeing like the originals because of how much he liked this one. So I guess like I'm taking it more as a I don't need to watch this again, like, because the originals are there, to be honest. But like Joe took it as I like this so much that I want to see the original and its sequels. So I guess, at the end of the day, it was a good remake. Like nobody really complaining about it. And it was already announced they're gonna do a sequel, so hey, I'm glad that pretty much everybody enjoyed it. Like, honestly, even though I'm saying I'm never going to watch it again, or I'm probably not going to watch it again, it's not like a movie that, like, I hated. Like, I had a good time with it. It just, like I said, just very similar to the original. I just don't see a reason to watch this again. 36, we have The Home, and a solid one-time watch. Pete Davidson actually did a pretty good job in this film, and it had a twist that was unexpected. It's not bad, but I don't really have a desire to see this again. I definitely recommend, like, this to people when it's on streaming, like maybe when it gets on Netflix or something. And yeah, I pretty much feel the same way as my review. I do think I am more open to rewatching The Home, to be honest, but like I this isn't a movie that I would add to my collection. I would just only watch it on streaming. So, yeah, I would say the only thing that changed from that review is that I am more open to rewatching it. But like I said, pretty much I'm only gonna catch it if it's on streaming. 35, we have Captain America: Brave New World. There's a lot I appreciate about this movie, like the tone, Anthony Mackie's performance, and that it addresses loose ends from the MCU. But overall, it's a solid film, but not one I'd go out my way to watch again. But if my friends wanted to watch it, I wouldn't be opposed to it. Not bad at all, just it wasn't that special to me. And I somewhat still believe this. Like, for the most part, I still agree with this review of mine. The only thing I will say is, just like with The Home, I am actually open to rewatching Brave New World. And matter of fact, I actually have it on my Amazon list for me to buy it. Like, I definitely grew to appreciate the movie a little bit more. So while I say that this movie is still very run of the mill superhero movie, like it's not the most special superhero movie, I will say that I have grown to like it a little bit more to where I would add it to my collection. So, yeah. At 34, we have Karate Kid's Legends. And the best way to describe this movie is safe. This movie feels like a mixture of two different movie ideas mashed into one, but somehow this still feels like a safe movie and not too different from, any other addition to the series. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it for the most part, but this isn't an entry that stands out compared to the rest. Fans of the franchise like me will enjoy it and its many callbacks, but this probably won't make the top of Karate Kid rankings. Karate Kid Legends, and I was saying this to my friend recently, this movie is actually two different ideas meshed together. Because I remember when they first announced this movie, they announced it as kid moves to America and he teaches a grown man how to fight to protect himself. I like the idea of that, like flipping the idea of the Karate Kid story, because at the end of the day, it is still a Karate Kid, but just flipping it to where the kid is now teaching the adult. And here's how I feel about the movie. I liked it more because they still had that idea somewhat. Basically, the main kid, he moves to America, he starts dating this girl, and the girl's dad is a boxer, but he owes these gangsters money. So he's trying to teach him techniques in karate that he can apply to boxing and whatever. I liked the movie when it was following that aspect, but when it got into the traditional, oh, the kid goes into a karate competition and gotta fight his bully and stuff like that, when it got to the typical Karate Kid tropes, that's where I started to but when it was focused more on the kid teaching his girlfriend's dad how to fight, that's when I really enjoyed the movie. So I wish it stayed to that plot and I probably would rank it so much higher. But this movie is still good. It's still one that I would probably add to my collection, but like I said, it doesn't really top most of the Karate Kid series in my opinion. At 33, we have Good Boy. Let me pull this up. It's not working with me right now. Come on. Okay. I found this to be a decent watch. I enjoyed the unique perspective the film takes, and while it was predictable in one aspect, it was definitely unpredictable in another. My biggest thing with this movie, though, is that it's truly a slow burn. Not too much happens throughout the film, especially if you're able to pick up on what's really going on, which I did in the first 5 minutes. But the saving grace of it being a slow burn is that it does play well into the story that's really being told here, which is overall a sad story. I'd say give it a try, but be warned about how slow it can be. And yeah, Good Boy, it's a movie that I kind of haven't thought too much about since watching it. But like I said, it is truly a slow burn. It's very slow, but it is very worth it if you're willing to go along with how slow it is. I would say the story is very worth it, and it's a very touching story. It's very sad, very touching. So, if you're willing to stick with it, I would say check it out. 32, we have Last Breath. Another mystery movie Monday. No real complaints with this movie. The acting was solid, of course. Look at the cast. I was on the edge of my seat, and the underwater cinematography definitely added to how terrifying the events were. All that being said, though, I don't really have much of a desire to watch it again. Like I said, it's good, but I feel like it's more of a solid one-time watch. But if my friends ever wanted to watch this, then I wouldn't be opposed to it. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything to add on to it. Last Breath was a pretty good movie for what it was, and yeah. So on to the next one. 31, we have Megan 2.0. Considering that I loved the first Megan movie, I really wanted to love this one too, but I just came out only liking it. I know I'm giving this 4 out of 5 stars, but trust me, this is a very low 4. I don't mind the change in genre slash tone, but I do feel like the change was too drastic to the point where I was questioning if I was even in the right movie. The movie still has comedy like the first one, but the jokes missed way more than they hit. And this still gets a 4 out of 5 though, because our main cast is good, and this had some admittedly decent fights. But it's cool, but I don't really know how much I can recommend it, especially if you're a fan of the first one. I pretty much said everything I had to say in that review. Like Megan 2.0, it's decent. It's good for what it is. Like I still enjoyed it, but it is a very low 4 just because I don't know. I definitely sitting with the movie for a little bit. Like they shouldn't have changed the tone. I really felt like they should have kept it very horror, or they shouldn't have made Megan like a hero in this. But like I hope this didn't kill the franchise because I know a lot of people didn't like this one. Um, I hope it didn't kill the franchise. I know it already screwed over the spin-off movie that was supposed to be made from it, and now that movie is being shopped around to other studios. I hope that spin-off gets picked up because I think that's gonna keep the horror aspect that Megan should have kept. But like I said, it is good. I don't know if I would add it to my collection. I'm still debating with myself on whether I would, but like it's cool. Like that's all I can really say. It's cool. Like not as good as the first. I love the first, but this one's just cool. At number 30, we have Superman. I was never a Superman fan before this, and this movie didn't make me one, but I did enjoy this. To be honest, this might be a good one and done for me, but at least I enjoyed what I saw, and I wouldn't mind if this was on around me. I also wouldn't mind giving more future DC Cinematic Universe stuff a chance, especially if it follows this type of direction. Like I said in the review, I was never really much of a Superman fan and didn't really like his character. Only reason I seen this movie is because my girlfriend wanted to watch it and she loved it. But for me, like, it was cool. Um, a lot of people seem to really love this movie, but for me, like, it was just cool. But I think the only reason I feel like I land on that is just because I was just never a big Superman fan. But overall, I have been opening up more to like DC Universe stuff. Like I loved Blue Beetle when that came out. Um, the Batman with Robert Pattinson. My friend recommended that movie to me, and I thought it was pretty good. And now, this Superman movie, this was pretty decent. So, like, I think I'm gonna start checking out more DC movies. I'm still gonna be a Marvel Universe fanboy, but like DC Universe, I'll give it a little bit more of a chance. Number 29, I have Shelby Oaks. I had to definitely check this movie out, especially since I've been watching Chris Stuckman since I was a kid. But no matter how special this moment is, I'm going to always try to keep it real with y'all. And I enjoyed this, of course, but I didn't like it as much as I wanted to. The only gripe I have is that this movie feels like greatest hits from scenes of other horror movies. Like a lot of these scares you've seen before, to be honest. And besides that, the movie is overall good, and I can see myself adding this to my collection. But it is kind of your standard horror flick. But this is his first film, and this was mostly crowdfunded, so maybe his next outing will be a lot more ambitious and better. But I still recommend it. But like I said, this is just kind of your standard horror movie, and like you do get a lot of hints of other horror movies. Like I got hints of Paranormal Activity. I got hints of Hereditary in here, The Conjuring. Like, I got a lot of hints from a lot of classic horror movies, but like, overall, I still say this is good. Now, realistically, if this wasn't Chris Stuckman, I do think I would. If I'm gonna be real with y'all, I think, and this is something I had to like sit with. Obviously, I thought this after I gave the review. But realistically, I probably would have gave this a 3 or 3.5 out of 5 if it wasn't Chris Stuckman. But because I have like attachment to him because I've been watching him since I was younger, That's the only reason I gave this a 4 out of 5, just because like it is crazy to see someone that basically in the realm of what I'm doing right now get that major film push, especially since most of this was crowdfunded and then it got picked up by Neon. Like that's a very big thing. So like, you know, I will admit my review is a little biased, but you know, ultimately I still recommend it to people. At number 28, we have Novocaine. This was tonight's Mystery Movie Monday, and I had a good time with this. Not really too much to say. I did expect a little bit more out of the fight scenes, but they were still well executed. Overall, the film executed its fun premise pretty well and had solid performances throughout. Definitely check this out if you're looking for like a turn your brain off, have fun type movie. And yeah, I still feel the same way. Like I felt like the action was lacking a little bit, but overall, I still think this was a great movie and one that I definitely want to add to my collection. Like, I really had a great time with this movie, and I hope they make a sequel someday. 27, we have The Naked Gun. I never seen the other Naked Gun movies, so no biases here. I had a good time with this movie. To be honest, I wanted to like it like more overall. I can't really put my finger on why I didn't, but this was definitely top 3 funniest movies I've seen this year. Y'all know I'm a big advocate for getting comedies back in theaters, so I highly recommend this. Yeah, this was really funny. Like this movie, like I said, I wanted to like it more. I wanted more to say about it, but all I can really say is that it was pretty funny for what it was, and like, you know, I liked it enough to where I would add it to my collection. So definitely recommend to people that, you know, wants to have a good laugh. And I gotta watch the other Naked Gun movies to see where it ranks, but you know, so far I really like this movie a lot. So if those other ones better be funny. So it got some stiff competition here. At number 26, I have Him. I really wanted to love this film, but I just wound up thinking it was just good. Not bad at all, but I wouldn't say it's great either. This makes for a perfect watching with friends on a Friday night type film. Positives I can say is our two leads did an amazing job, and the cinematography and editing was top notch. But besides that, everything else just felt good enough and nothing more. The opinions of this are split, so I'd say check it out for yourself, but don't go in with expectations as if Jordan Peele directed this, because he did not. And I just had to say it like that because, yo, I've seen a lot of people hate on this movie and say like it's bad and stuff. And some of the people really said that Jordan Peele fell off with this movie. But I'm like, bro, he did not even direct this. He just produced it. It did come out through his production company, but like he only directed the movie. He did not direct the movie, he only produced it. Um I would say actually sitting with this movie, I would say that I do consider it pretty great. The only thing is only reason that I consider it great is literally just because of Marlon Wayans and Tyreek Withers. If these two were not in the movie, if there was anybody else as the leads, I feel like this movie would have just been good. I just can't. I felt like the movie would have just been meh. But like because of Tyreek Withers and Marlon Wayans' performances, they definitely elevated this movie to great. So yeah, Him is another movie that I like, despite how many people disliked it. I like this movie, and I would definitely add this to my collection. At number 25, I have A Very Jonas Christmas Movie. Um, I forgot to review this after I seen it, but there's not too much to say. It's a harmless, feel-good Christmas movie that only had one bad song in my opinion, which is so funny because like when me and my girlfriend was watching it, I literally said to her like, "Oh, this song is easily going to be my least favorite of all the songs here." And yeah, I wound up being right. Like it was one of the songs that Joe sang and like yeah, I did not like that song at all. But it was at the very beginning of the movie and every other song was good. So, yeah. Um Back to my review. Whether you're a fan of the Jonas Brothers or not and don't mind musicals, I still feel like you should have a decent time with this. Yeah, pretty much my review said it all. It's a very harmless Christmas comedy. Am I going to make sure to catch this every single year around the holidays? I'm not really sure, but overall, I still think this is pretty good, and I would still recommend it as a watch during the holidays. But like I said, I don't know if I'm gonna like make it on my list to make I definitely need to see this every year. But you know, it's one that I would definitely keep checking out. I wish Disney Plus did more physical releases because I probably would have bought this. I probably would have bought this physically. I enjoyed it that much. At number 24, we have The Life of Chuck. Um, this movie is the type I feel like has to grow on me because the more I think about it, the more I do appreciate it. But off of first watch, it was decent. The film was split into three acts, and the first, technically third, if you know, you know, was kind of bled to me. But the second and third acts were great. Um, I do like how everything ties together to convey a beautiful message about life, but like I said, maybe the overall product will get better to me on rewatches, but I do recommend people to check it out. And yeah, this movie has definitely grown on me a lot actually, to the point where I would actually consider uh this for my collection. Like I definitely want to add this to my collection. The movie is a very nice movie and it's very beautiful with its message about life and stuff like that. So, yeah, I would say The Life of Chuck, definitely check it out. It's just the reason that it stops it from being a 5 out of 5 is literally just the first part of the movie. The first part of the movie I feel like could have been cut out, but everything else definitely top tier. So if it wasn't for that first part of the movie, this would have been 5 out of 5. 23, we have Ballerina. The movie has a slow but necessary start. The real fun starts when the action picks up, of course. I've never seen Anna de Armas in an action role before, but she does great here. And John Wick is, you know, of course, John Wick, so that's always great. Overall, not as good as the main John Wick films, but a great addition to the series. Definitely check it out if you're interested. And yeah, I like Ballerina a lot. Like I said, not up there with like the main John Wick films, but like it is up there, but it's not as good. And like, if I was to do a John Wick series ranking, like, yeah, Ballerina would be at the bottom, but like that's still a very high bottom. Like that's still pretty good for where it is. So, yeah, I definitely recommend Ballerina if you're into the John Wick films or if you're just into action films in general. I definitely like this movie, and there's aspects of it that I would say I enjoy more than John Wick. Like John Wick, he is just able to go in and just take out 30 million dudes in one go, where Ballerina, she is able to take down a bunch of dudes, but because she's smaller and she's a woman, like she be having to use her surroundings a lot more, having to use like different tactics and weapons and stuff like that. So like I would say there's definitely a lane for the Ballerina series, which it seems like they're going to continue it, so definitely going to be seeded for the sequels. At number 22, we have Unknown Number, The High School Catfish. I actually found this documentary pretty good, and the way the story was presented kept me on my toes. I am docking a huge point, though, because the filmmakers should have definitely dove into a certain aspect about the person who is behind it, instead of trying to make that person sympathetic. If you know, you know. But overall, this was good. Wasn't great, but the creators wanted to walk on eggshells, so, you know, it was good, but there was definitely a certain aspect they should have touched on to make this great. But I highly recommend this documentary. I was hooked when I was watching it. And when I found out who the person was that was behind these text messages, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I was sitting there cussing out the screen. Like, this was crazy. I definitely recommend if you're really looking for something shocking and definitely interesting. At number 21, we have Final Destination Bloodlines. I'm not that big of a fan of the Final Destination movies, but this was a fun watch. I do like that they took a family theme this time around to spice things up, but besides that, this is still your usual Final Destination film. The kills were crazy, and I had a lot of fun with these characters. I won't rush to see this again, but this is a good option to put on, you know, when you're hanging out with your friends or with your girl. I will say my opinion slightly changed, where I still give this a 4 out of 5, but this is a movie I do want to add to my collection. And yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the Final Destination movies. I only seen one. I seen a little bit of two, and I seen this one. I very much enjoyed Final Destination 1. Final Destination 2 was kind of boring to me, so like I didn't finish it. But this one, I definitely say I might like this slightly more than the first, and it kind of does make me want to go back and watch those older ones again. Like that's how good this one is. Like it makes me want to pick back up on the series and watch the rest. But yeah, I definitely want to add this to my collection. I'm definitely gonna get the collection of Final Destination movies because I don't own any of them yet. So I might just get that whole collection and just watch all of them. And even if I don't like the rest, I still like the first and this one. So you know. At number 20, we have Oh Hi. I'm not fully sure if I liked any of these characters or not, but I did enjoy this film a lot. It wasn't the funniest comedy, but it does make up with that for like its many unexpected moments that kept me wondering what'll happen next. This definitely isn't a movie for everyone, but I still recommend it as a one-time watch, at least for other people. This is a movie that I did want to add to my collection, but I don't even think it's on DVD. When I looked it up, it said that it was on HD DVD, which is so weird because it's like that format is so old and got discontinued. I don't even know how this movie is on HD DVD but not regular DVD. So like maybe I need to look it up again. But yeah, Oh Hi, I thought it was pretty good. If it was available on physical release, or if I find out that it is available on physical release, I would get it. But yeah, Oh Hi, pretty good movie. Not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but I would add it to my collection. At number 19, we have The Perfect Neighbor. This was a very well-made documentary, and I actually think I like the no interview, just raw footage approach that this documentary took. Gives it a very show don't tell type quality to it. I'm also glad that the doc represents how abusive the stand your ground law can be, especially towards black people. If given the chance, definitely check this one out. I remember this movie getting a lot of like rave reviews and like a lot of good videos about it on TikTok, and even my girlfriend seen it before I watched it and she was saying like definitely check it out. So when I watched it, like I was glued to the screen. And I'm someone like I like to watch like true crime and like some documentary type stuff, but sometimes like I just like to have the story be presented to me instead of like being told by people, which obviously you're going to want like real life accounts to it and whatever. But I'm saying all that to say that I liked how this movie is just straight raw footage. There's no interviewers. There's no interviews with the neighbors or the lady or the kids of the victim. Like this was all just straight raw footage. And I felt like I felt like it really added to what was being told here. Like, there is no opinions being told here. This is literally what it is, and this is showing exactly the reality of basically what the situation was. This was a tragic situation, and that lady deserved the jail time she got. Actually, I don't even remember how much jail time she got, but she deserves life in my opinion. I don't remember what her sentence was, but if it's life, then she got exactly what she deserved, because that was just horrible what she done. But yeah, definitely check out this documentary. Really great, and like I said, it definitely comments on how abusive the stand your ground law can be. At number 18, we have Lilo and Stitch. Let me pull this up. This review, Letterboxd be making it so hard to click on your reviews. I've been seeing a lot of hate for this, and I honestly don't understand why. When I go into these remakes, I don't look for a one-to-one adaptation because I already have the original to return to. But if changes are made, I just ask that they make sense. And for this, I found most of the changes good. Biggest positive goes to the child actress who plays Lilo. She embodied the character perfectly. Biggest negative is making Jumba a complete villain with no redemption arc. They already said they're making a sequel, so I really hope he gets a redemption arc there, hopefully. While not as good as the original, of course, I do believe this was a great rendition of the Disney classic that everyone should give at least one try. I had a talk with my friend recently about this movie, and you know, I basically said to him that like a lot of the problems that other people has, which I already explained in one episode, how like a lot of the complaints that people have about this movie, I don't really feel like makes sense, especially the whole, oh, this movie just skipped on the whole point of Ohana. This movie does not have the lesson of Ohana. This movie did. It just y'all didn't like the way it was done. Like, let's just keep it real. Y'all just didn't like the way it was done. But you cannot say that Nani abandoned Lilo, and you cannot say that the movie didn't maintain its message of Ohana just like the original. But even though my friend didn't like it, but I did. He did see where I was coming from. I seen where he was coming from, but ultimately, I still go to the standpoint of when I see a remake of a movie that I love, I don't want it to be one for one. I want it to be different in good ways. And I felt like this was a perfect representation of what I want out of a remake. Like, if I want to see the original Lilo and Stitch, which I obviously believe is the better film, I'm going to go watch it. But I also like this one enough to where I wouldn't mind seeing this version as well. So, yeah. I enjoy Lilo and Stitch. Lilo and Stitch, you can get behind me. I will stand with you. And I actually plan on adding this to my collection pretty soon. So, when I do eventually start up my Blu-ray collection videos, expect to see this. At number 17, we have The Housemaid. I enjoyed myself from start to end, and despite me getting a feeling of the twist pretty early, I still liked it anyway. Only thing I could criticize is the length. Felt a little too long for me, but this is based on a book, so chances are it was trying to fit like a lot of material into this movie. But overall, I highly recommend. And yeah, this was one of the last few movies I seen in the year. So yeah, this review pretty much still captures like how I feel about it. Movie was very long and the twist was kind of predictable, but overall this movie was still fun. It kind of gave me the vibe of like a old 2000 thriller type movie. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the sequel, and this is one I'm definitely adding to my collection. 16, we have Drop. Perfect movie to turn your brain off with and have fun with friends. Nothing too crazy to drive home about, but I had a lot of fun with this one. Definitely adding to my collection. Just like what I said with The Housemaid, this movie had a very like 2000s like, fun night out with friends, or just a fun movie to watch in general. Just turn your brain off and have fun with it. Very 2000s feel. You guys know me, I love the 2000s, so like any movie, music, or anything like that gives me that old 2000s feel, like I'm automatically gonna like it. Drop was one of those type of movies, and I very much loved it. Like I said, it's a movie to just have fun with, so definitely recommend it. I think the movie was made by Sony, and I think Sony has a deal with Netflix to have their movies on there. So if you see it on Netflix, definitely check it out. But just check it out in general. I feel like a lot of people would have fun with it. At number 15, we have A Working Man. Just turn your brain off and have fun. This feels like a throwback action movie with little to no stakes and cheesy dialogue. Only reason I won't rate this higher is because it did run a little too long for me. The acting was downright bad at times, and the most basic action plot that you can think of. But overall, if you go into this not expecting much except cool action scenes, then you'll be good. Pretty much the trend with the last two movies as well. This just gave a very like 2000s or even like older than that type action movie vibe. Like, who cares about the plot? You're really only just here to see Jason Statham beat a lot of dudes' butts. Like, that's what you're really here for. So come with that as your only expectation, and you'll have fun with it. 14, we have Trainwreck, that Astroworld tragedy. Me being a music and rap fan, I've kept up and heard about the story, but nothing compares to actually seeing all this compiled footage and hearing firsthand accounts from the tragic night. Everything shown in this had me feeling more uncomfortable than any horror movie I've ever watched. I'm not a fan of most Netflix docs, but they actually did a good job at producing this. Not only does it pay respect to the lives affected, but it also highlights the carelessness that was shown by Live Nation and Travis Scott. I definitely recommend checking this out. Just be prepared for what you're getting into, though. This documentary was very sad, and like I said, the stuff depicted in this was more unsettling than any horror movie I've ever seen. Like, I guess because this is like real life stuff, and this was like really horrific to see happen in real life. So like, yeah, I definitely recommend, definitely watch it. And I know that Netflix does like a whole train wreck movie series. So I'm definitely gonna check out the other ones, but I would say if they're anything like this, then I feel like I'm going to enjoy the other ones as well. But yeah, definitely check Trainwreck Travis Scott out. This one was definitely one to watch. All right, we're getting closer to these 5 stars. Um, at number 13, we have Together. This is the most romantically disgusting movie I've ever seen. This was an excellent directorial debut by Michael Shanks, and the fact that a real married couple stars in this movie makes the chemistry of the characters stand out. If you and your partner are into horror, I definitely recommend this, and I'm adding this to my collection. Update: I upped the score because the movie gets better the more I think about it. Yeah, pretty much the review is still the same way that I feel. Um, I like this movie a lot. I wish this is one I could have watched with my girlfriend, but she kind of hates horror. But this is one that I wish I could watch with my girlfriend. Babe, if you're listening to this episode, I want to watch this with you at some point, so you just let me know when we're going to watch this together. But yeah, this movie is really good, and I really want to add this to my collection really soon. I actually want to rewatch it really soon too. But yeah, definitely recommend, and I definitely recommend to watch it as a couple. I know some people say you shouldn't watch this as a couple, but I definitely recommend it for couples. I feel like this is gonna be like a funny or a good watch for y'all. Number 12, I have Better Man. I was not expecting the first movie I seen this year to be this damn good. First off, I should say that I had no clue who Robbie Williams was before this movie, and the only reason I seen it was because this was the first mystery movie of the year. This movie, despite being a little too long for me and touching on a lot of biopic cliches, but it definitely does make efforts to separate itself from others, was amazing to me, and is genuinely one of the best music biopics I've ever seen. I wouldn't recommend it to everyone, but this is one I would say is worth a try. Like, when I talk about the grand scheme of biopics that I've seen, like I would say this is the second best biopic I've seen, uh, behind Straight Outta Compton, which is one of my favorite films of all time, like top 5. So yeah, Better Man was such a great film. Um, I definitely recommend it. And biopics don't always have to be about people that you know. I think that's the one thing I loved about this movie is the fact that I didn't know nothing about Robbie Williams, but it was still good enough to where I still was engaged as if I was a longtime fan. And it turns out I actually do know a little bit more about Robbie Williams than I thought. I forget which video game it was, but apparently one of his songs was in a video game, and Finding Nemo, which is also one of my top 15 favorite films of all time. Finding Nemo, the end credits song is literally sung by him. So the song I've been singing since I was a little kid, I didn't realize it was Robbie Williams singing it, and now here I am watching his biopic, thinking that I knew nothing about him at all. At number 11, we have Bring Her Back. I'm going to keep this one short and vague because this is truly a movie that you want to go blind into. Easily one of the best movies this year and keeps an eerie vibe throughout. Some aspects of the ending was a little bit predictable, but besides that, this was an amazing movie and I will be adding this to my collection. Got no different thoughts, like pretty much the same way I wrote this here is like how I still feel about the film. Um, I was never really interested in Talk to Me, which the directors made that movie before they made Bring Her Back, and now they're working on Talk to Me too. I never was interested in Talk to Me, but Bring Her Back was so good that I'm actually interested in seeing Talk to Me. So, eventually I'll let y'all know how I feel about it, but as far as Bring Her Back, this movie was amazing. I loved it, and I definitely recommend it to other fans of horror. All right, y'all, we're in our top 10, and pretty much all the top 10 is all 5 out of 5s. Like I said, this is the first year where I had like this many 5 out of 5s. So the fact that my whole top 10 is 5 out of 5s really just goes to show how good 2025 was for a year for me. But let's get into it. At number 10, we have Presence. This movie might not be for everyone since it's more of a on the slower side, and keep your expectations at bay because despite the story being in the ghost perspective, this is pretty much a family drama with little to no scares at all. With all that being said, though, I loved every minute of it, and I would add this to my Blu-ray collection. Just like with Bring Her Back, this is a movie that I just want to be vague with because I don't want to spoil it. Even though I know most of y'all probably seen it by now, since this is the end of the year ranking, I still would say like go into presence blind. Don't watch a trailer. If this is the first time you're hearing about it and you're interested from my review, just go into this as blind as possible. This movie is so good, and it's only better when you literally know nothing. And that's how I went into this, barely knowing anything. I just seen one trailer and that was about it. So yeah. Number 9, we have Companion. Just saw this through Regal's Mystery Movie Monday, and let me start by saying thank God I didn't watch the whole trailer because it gave almost everything away. Stay away from the trailers and go into this movie as blind as possible. Not much to say, great film all around, and one that strikes nearly perfect balance of thriller and comedy. This year so far has been really pleasantly surprising for me when it comes to films. Check it out when it officially releases, and if you're into horror comedies. Yeah, I pretty much feel the same way. This movie was a very perfect blend of horror and comedy. Had a lot of fun with it, and it's one that I just cannot wait to add to my collection. At number 8, we have Weapons. Very enjoyable watch and easily one of the best horror movies this year. Was it particularly scary? No, but this was a very well executed horror mystery. I usually find movies split into chapters to be corny, but this was the best I've ever seen the chapters gimmick used. I also loved the clear theme that was in the film. Overall, I definitely loved it, and Zach Kreger is 2 for 2 with the horror game in my opinion, because I love Barbarian too. I hope that gets a physical release. For Christmas, I actually got Weapons on Blu-ray. I wish I would have asked for it on 4K, but you know, we're here now. But yeah, either way, I own the movie, love it, definitely recommend it. It is definitely like one of the best horror movies to come out this year. Yeah, like I said, definitely recommend Weapons. At number 7, we have The Thunderbolts. Easily one of Marvel's best films. Everyone bought their A game, but Florence Pugh is a force to be reckoned with in this film. On a filmmaking standpoint, it actually felt like Marvel was trying to make a film that could be well regarded by moviegoers, whether you're into superhero movies or not. Like, it felt like they were trying to make their own A24 or Neon type film, like very independent, but also still Marvel. My only gripe I had with this movie was Taskmaster. If you know, you know. But other than that, this was a great movie that surprisingly had a big focus on mental health. And go check this out before spoilers start rolling in, which Disney did not hesitate. They started spoiling it literally the weekend of the movie instead of waiting till the week after. But yeah, Thunderbolts, great movie. I definitely like that it was going for a different vibe. And yeah, if you still haven't seen it, I definitely say check it out. At number 6, I have the Fantastic Four First Steps. There weren't too many action scenes in my opinion, but the cast's fantastic performances and the story does make up for it. I also like the vibe of the film. I don't know how to describe it, but it does feel like, you know, it feels different than most Marvel movies. Personally, this might get a slight edge over the Thunderbolts, but both are definitely going into my collection, and I highly recommend. Which, both movies did get in my collection on Christmas. I got both in 4K, so I love that. Basically, I still feel the same way, of course. The only thing that I would say that I forgot to say in my review is that I definitely love the family aspect that I felt like the MCU has been missing. Like one of the reasons that I like Age of Ultron more than most people is I like that we see more of the dynamic of the Avengers like together and stuff like that. It felt like more of a family type movie for them, and I felt like that was missing in the MCU. So to see the Fantastic Four bring that back, you know, that was just amazing. But yeah, I love the Fantastic Four First Steps. A lot of people that I know think that it's just all right, but to me, I loved it, and I would say it's the best Fantastic Four movie that we've ever gotten. So yeah, definitely check it out if you haven't. Y'all, we get into our top 5, and at number 5, I have Heart Eyes. Not gonna lie, I'm a little bit biased because this movie mix two things that I love: cheesy rom coms and gory horror slashers. So, of course, this movie was going to be a winning combination for me. Not only do you have a great mix of those genres, but you also got talented actors like Olivia Holt and Mason Gooding as the leads. I definitely recommend this because this is like no other romance movie you'll ever see. And I hope they don't make a sequel though, because honestly, this was a good one and done in my opinion. But knowing Hollywood, they're probably going to greenlight one. That aside, definitely go see this with your significant other or by yourself if you were single like me, which I wrote this review when I was still single. Yeah. Go see it with your significant other or by yourself if you're single like me, or still in my case if your girlfriend doesn't like horror movies. So yeah, I would probably watch this by myself. But either way, you'll have a fun time with this. And yeah, I love Hard Eyes. This movie, like I loved it instantly from the first time I seen it. Like I said, I love cheesy rom-com movies and I love horror. So seeing it mixed together, like really great. This movie is a movie that I'm gonna watch every year for Valentine's Day. I have watched it like a few times after I initially seen it in theaters, but like this is definitely one to watch around Valentine's Day. I'm gonna try to convince my girl into watching this movie with me because she already wants to watch The Notebook and like another romance movie that I've never seen, but like I'm gonna try to convince her like, can you watch Hard Eyes with me just one time? But yeah, definitely check this out. At number 4, I have The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie. I'm trying to pull up this review. Like I said, Letterboxd makes it hard. I'm not exaggerating when I say this will definitely be up there for one of the most funniest films you will see this year. No matter how old or young you are, this movie should be a good time for anyone, especially if you're a fan of the Looney Tunes. I think it's leaving theaters soon, but check it out whenever you get a chance. Guaranteed good time. Yeah. This movie is still like one of the funniest movies that I seen like last year, and I can't wait to add it to my collection. I'm surprised that it even got a Blu-ray release. Well, they fought to get it in theaters, so I'm surprised it even got a physical release, but I will be adding it to my collection soon. I really love this movie, and to be honest, non-biased, because I feel like I'm quick to say Space Jam, since that was like my Looney Tunes movie. I feel like I'm quick to say Space Jam, but if I'm being objective here, if I'm being completely objective, I would say that this movie is my favorite Looney Tunes movie, and it is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. Not even just in the year, but just in general. One of the funniest movies I've ever seen. Like I said, go check it out if you're a fan of the Looney Tunes, but even if you just love comedy, definitely just check it out. This movie is like so funny. At number 3, we have One of Them Days. When I say I want comedies back in theaters, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Typically, I hate when movies tries to market itself as this generation's Friday, but out of all the films that did that, this is the closest to living up to it. This movie definitely deserves all the praise it's been getting because in every aspect, it stuck the landing for me. Keke Palmer does an amazing performance as usual, but SZA was surprisingly good for her first acting role. Or I won't say it's her first acting role, but it was definitely like one of her first main roles. The story had a lot going on in it, but in a good way that'll keep you laughing and invested throughout. Overall, I love this film, and I can see this staying near the top of my list for the rest of the year, which ultimately I was right. This stayed at the top of my list, and pretty much it's just because this movie, like I said, I hate when movies tries to be the next Friday. Like in the 2010s, Lottery Ticket was trying to be the next Friday, and it even marketed itself that way. But this movie right here, yeah, this is the closest that we've ever gotten to like this generation's Friday. And I mean, even if we want to take the Friday comparisons out of it, this movie is just a great movie, very funny. And like I said, SZA did surprisingly a really good job. Now, I mean, is this Oscar nomination worthy performance? No. But she did a really good job for her first time. And honestly, she also made me laugh just as much as Keke Palmer did. And like the cast in this movie was great. And the other thing I loved about it is it's very modern, but it's not corny. Like, I hope people get what I mean when I say that. Like, there's a lot of modern comedies that try to be corny with adding, like, social media stars or adding, like, songs that are really popular with everybody. And, like, There it goes, you try to meet a thin line between, like, obviously being current, but also, dang, this is corny. But this movie actually rode the line pretty, pretty well. Like, I think there was like one or two internet celebrities, and obviously there's like modern day slang in the movie, but like at the end of the day, it didn't feel corny, and it wound up being a really good movie that I'm surprised I didn't add to my collection by now, but it will be in my collection at some point. And they already announced the sequel. Now, for me personally, I didn't feel like this movie needed a sequel, but I will be seated, probably even opening day. Like, I loved one of them days, so I hope the sequel is just as well, or just as good, or even better than the first one. At number two, we have The Long Walk. I love this movie and will definitely add it to my collection at some point, but geez, is this a hard watch. I loved every aspect of this film, but easily the highlight of this is the actors' amazing portrayal of these characters and the chemistry they had. They really drive home the point of this story to find beauty in ugly situations in life. I could honestly go on about the different things I loved about this movie, but I'll just say overall, it is a tough watch that will have you smiling, but also heartbroken at the same time. So keep that in mind when you go to see it. And this may be a controversial take, but this is easily my favorite Stephen King adaptation out of all the ones that I've seen, and just one of my favorite films in general. Like, this movie got on my all-time list, so yeah, I highly recommend it. Man, I always usually gush about my top two films of the year. The Long Walk is such an amazing, beautiful film, and easily my favorite like Stephen King adaptation. Um, I watched it recently again. I've been telling people this movie is such a great movie, but it is such a hard watch because you love these characters, and then you just see the gruesome deaths that they have. And this movie is pretty gruesome. Like, it is very out there with the death scenes and stuff like that. And it's like, it's sad because like, you can already tell this is the type of movie where there is not going to be a magically happy ending. This movie is going to devastate you, especially if you get attached to these characters, which me and my girlfriend definitely did. We both were excited to see it, and there was just so many sad death scenes that even at one point she was like, I kind of regret picking wanting to see this movie. But at the end, me and her both enjoyed it. I mean, obviously I loved it. I loved it. She enjoyed it, but I loved this movie. And when I say that, like, this movie is great in every aspect, which I was also telling my friend Al, who's also in the film, as you guys may know if you watch the podcast. This movie, I know, is just characters walking, just straight up walking, but they do a lot with this. Like, they do a lot with the shots, especially the score. The score, I would say, is probably the best, or tied with the best score with the number one movie. But this movie's score is like tied up there, in my opinion, with my number one movie. But like, this movie is just amazing all the way, and it's one that I'm mad that I missed on the Amazon Steelbook, or I'm not sure if I missed on it, but the last time I looked, I don't think they had any more Steelbooks. But yeah, I'm mad that I missed the Amazon Steelbook for this movie, but it is one that I will be adding to my collection very soon. It is one that I highly recommend. Just like I said, it is very sad, so keep that in mind, but I still highly recommend this movie. Such an amazing film, and I just want as many people as possible to see it. But as much as I love this movie, I gotta say, it was not touching number one. When I say that the number one movie of the year is a movie that, like, before I even say what it is, and I feel like if you know me, or you guys probably will know at this point, this movie was so big when it came out, and it stayed big throughout the whole year. But pretty much, I was going to see this movie on a discount Tuesday like I usually do, but I was seeing so many rave reviews and talking about how amazing this film was that I said, dang, I need to buy a ticket for Friday night. This is one that I got, like, from all the reviews I was seeing and how good people were saying this film was, I had to buy my Friday night ticket. And when I went to the theater was packed. Like, and it was one of the best film experiences just in general. Like I think this was one of the best film experiences I ever had in my life. Theater was locked in, everybody had a good time, movie made us laugh, made us cry, and yo. So what is my number one? And number one, and I, like I said, if you know me or if you guys, been keeping up, Sinners is number one. And my review goes, this movie is a really strong contender for my favorite film of the year. I love this film literally in every aspect, and I could go on and on about the things I appreciated in this film. I like to do short reviews, so I'll keep this brief, but Ryan Coogler has really outdone himself and should be seriously considered in all-time conversations. Michael B. Jordan is great, as always. So is the rest of the cast. And sadly, I didn't get to see this in IMAX because none of the theaters around me is in IMAX, but I still was able to take in how beautifully shot this film was. Like I said, I don't want to make my review too long, but this is definitely a film not just worth seeing, but seeing in the biggest screen possible. So this is my end of the year episode, so I can go on and on as much as I want about Sinners. Yo, like I said in my review, Ryan Coogler at this point seriously needs to be in all-time conversations at this point. Look at this man's whole filmography, and it's like he just, at least to other people, he just kept getting better and better. I've always thought every movie that he's made, I don't think he's ever made a bad movie. I feel like all his movies are at least great. But Fruitvale Station, amazing. Black Panther, great. Black Panther Wakanda Forever, great. Creed 1, amazing. Sinners, just absolutely amazing. And it's like this movie, I love everything about it. Like, if there's a movie that I could use as an example, at least horror, drama, like all that, like I would use this movie as an example of, one, how to build a world. Because the world and these characters, like, first off, I'm a big horror fan. Big horror fan. And I really wanted to see it because, like, Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, I seen some actors from back in the day that I haven't seen in a while in a movie. Like, the cast looked amazing, and then Ryan Coogler being behind it, and it was about vampires, and it was an original film. Like, I wanted to see this movie so bad. But I wanted to see it really mostly because, I mean, yeah, everything else, but mostly because it was a vampire flick. And I'm like, if anybody is going to do a good vampire flick, which I feel like we don't really get a lot of good ones, if anybody's going to do an amazing vampire flick, it's going to be Ryan Coogler. But this movie was so amazing. Like, the first half, like, the whole movie was amazing from front to beginning. But the beginning half is so good, I didn't even care whether we got to the horror or not. I didn't care for the vampires to show up. This world was amazing. The characters were amazing to the point where I didn't even care if the horror aspect even came in. But even when the horror aspect came in, that was well executed. And I know some people say, like, oh, it feels like two completely different movies, but bro, it's really not. The beginning, the characters in the world perfectly set up the metaphor that the vampires were going for. Not only that, but I remember even Ryan Coogler said that there's more monsters in this movie than just vampires. And the ending with the KKK getting smoked by smoke, yo, that just showed that, yeah, he was right. There is more monsters than the vampires, the KKK themselves. Like, this movie, oh my gosh. That's why I love this movie so much. Because there's so much meaning into it. But it's like, you can watch it and acknowledge the meaning, or you can just watch it and just have fun with it. Like, I love that you can do that with this movie. But I just love the messaging and everything with this movie. This movie has such beautiful messaging in it, like about black culture, especially with the music scene. Everybody knows the juke joint scene where Sammy played I Lied to You. Bro, anybody that loves filmmaking, music, like anybody that, like, first off, it was great as a black filmmaker or a black person that wants to be in this filmmaking industry. Just watching that myself already felt amazing, but then you add on like the music in the movie, the cinematography, like how they executed that whole scene. That scene alone deserves like a whole analysis, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people already done that. But like, yo, and I haven't even touched on Ryan Coogler's direction in this movie. I feel like he's definitely grown better as a director in this movie. Not that all his movies weren't great, but like I said, this movie is just crazy. And to be honest, I don't know if Ryan Coogler can top this movie. I don't really know if he can top Sinners. Like even in the future when he makes more movies, I feel like his movies are always going to be great, but I don't think it's ever going to top Sinners. This is going to be his magnum opus, kind of like Jordan Peele with Get Out. Like I feel like this is his magnum opus. But yeah, um, the music, the score, cast, the direction, the story, the themes, all of it is just all amazing. And like I said, the reviews that I was seeing before this movie was raving so much that I said, you know what, forget my Tuesday ticket. I refunded the money and then I bought the opening day ticket, and that was one of the best decisions I think I've ever made like in my life. I'm not trying to over exaggerate. I'm not trying to glaze or anything like that. Sinners is just such an amazing film, and I just can't believe that. You know that feeling that like older generations have when they get to say, "I saw Star Wars." When it was originally released, I saw this classic movie when it was originally released. Like, I feel like Sinners is gonna be one of those movies that like when our kids have kids and stuff like that, and if they're in the film as well, like if my grandkids wound up like being in the film just like me, I'll be able to brag like, yeah, I was there on opening night of Sinners. I was there like when this masterpiece was released, and boy, I just love this movie so much. I just love it so much. My nose is a little stuffy. I'm not crying. My nose is just a little stuffy, so my voice sounds different. That's why. But yeah, I just really love this movie so much. It made it up there in my all-time list. I think it's around like number 6 in my all-time list, which definitely got to update that episode where I did my favorite films of all time. But yeah, Sinners is amazing. I feel like most people watched it, but if you did not watch it, go check it out. Such an amazing film, and I just cannot wait to see what Ryan Coogler does next. Maybe he'll shut me up. Maybe he will make a movie better than Sinners, but like that's gonna be really hard. But yeah, so all right, y'all. That was my 2025 film ranking. Um, I hope y'all really enjoyed this. I know, like I said before, like this is way later than it should have came out, but I really hope that y'all still enjoyed it either way, because like I love to talk about film, and I honestly want to hear some of y'all lists. Now, obviously, y'all don't have to tell me every single film that y'all seen this year, but like, what's your favorite film this year? Or if you do want to give me like your ranking, like a top 10, top 5 would be pretty cool. But yeah, man, what can I say? Like I said earlier, 2025 has just been an amazing year for film, and like thus far of all the years in this decade, 2025 has definitely been the best one. Like I have hope for 2026. I hope that 2026 can live up to it, which so far I have already made my list in Letterboxd, and I have two films that I watch. I watch Mercy and I watch Primate. Now, if you want to go to my Letterbox and keep up with my ranking, then I'll leave it down in the description. But pretty much I can say that from what I've seen so far, 2026 might keep up the same quality as 2025, but I don't want to call it just yet. But there is a lot of 2026 movies that I'm really looking forward to. This year is stacked, and this year is going to be crazy. So yeah, I'll do a like my most anticipated films list pretty soon. But yeah, like I said, I hope y'all enjoyed it. I know this was a late one, but I really hope y'all enjoyed it. And with all that being said, Tevin Jameer signing out. Catch y'all in the next one.